I remember when I was young, there used to be a video game magazine where you could just look in it, and they would give you cheat codes at the end of it, but for most of them, it was going through like the boards and stuff and giving you clues to help you out to be able to get through that board, to how to beat the game. And it was definitely beneficial for all the video game people that wanted to try to learn the skills without cheating to get by, you know, getting the help that you needed. So for me, I feel like a lot of people can ask someone that's been married 50, 60, 70 years and going through it, and went through the problems and seeing, okay, how can a relationship work now? Or you can go with my last one, which isn't you beating the game. It's letting the game know it beat you. And that's by giving up. It's by saying I had enough. It's by saying this is too much. It's by saying you don't love me like you used to. You don't care for me like you used to. You've changed. I found someone else. I just think we need to separate. It's kind of funny that people give up, and then when you ask them, when they're when you're talking to them, they would say something like, "Well, we're better friends out of the relationship than we are in," and that may be true because you're not counting on them being the emotional support to you. You're not counting on them kissing you and hugging you when you need it. You're not counting on them being or caring about your feelings, or supporting you in the way that you feel like you needed support. So yeah, you may be better friends than you are, better friends than you were in the relationship, because of the expectations you have for your partner aren't the same of the expectations you have for your friends. So giving up basically said, I'm beat. I'm done. I've tried my hardest. I've done all the things that I've can. I've done whatever else. It's time to switch up, which I think is the wrong thing to do. Depending on the situation, I don't think you should stay in a relationship that is dangerous for your life. But if it's just situations where you feel like they could be fixed, they're just not being fixed fast enough, you definitely can last through them. Sometimes you're gonna have times where you're not getting the needs that you want. But if you're patient enough and you're aware of how to make a person want to be, want to serve your needs, or where you definitely can do that. It definitely could be something that is being achieved, but it all comes with how you see things. Are you aware of how to handle it? Are you patient enough to have it happen? Patient enough to wait until it happens. I'm sorry. But I feel like I kind of explained it. I kind of explained it the best way that I can. I hope it was good enough to get people to understand where I'm coming from, especially the crowd that's 40 and younger. It might be some older people that play some video games. Don't get me wrong. I may be wrong on who it is that played them, but I definitely think that the 40 and under crowd will understand me more as far as men when it comes to video games. There's another thing I wanted to talk about. Me and my friend were riding in a car. One day we were on our way to a club, which was like 45 minutes away from where we stayed at. So we get into the car, and it was like 35 if you're driving fast. One of our friends used to drive so fast he'll get there in like 25 minutes. He just sped down the highway. But if you're going the speed limit, it definitely takes like 45 minutes. But anyways, to keep going, we were riding in the car, and I had an Android phone. I liked the new Android phones. Always liked having a new Android phone. They were my favorite as far as the capabilities, the things you could do with it. I was not an iPhone person. Never used an iPhone for my personal usage. I just liked having the Android phone. He had a Nokia phone, which was like I want to say bootleg, but it was not. It was just a regular phone that had two capabilities, which was calling and texting. I think it had camera on there, but it really didn't have anything else other than that. I think you could download like ringtones to it, but it was just a basic phone. And we're riding in a car, and 20 minutes later, I'm looking at my phone and my energy, and I'm like, hey, my phone is on 55%. It was on 100 when I left, but it's on 55. I want to have my phone all night, so I'm gonna have to call you back. And me, I didn't have a phone charger in the car, so I was like, definitely gotta call you back. He had his phone on from the beginning of the ride to the end of the ride. He was on his phone, nonstop talking, just on there. Even me, I was just looking at my phone, but him, he was just riding nonstop talking on the phone. So we get to where we're going, and I ask him, and I say, man, how much energy do you have on your phone? And he was like about 95%. And it bugged me, because I was like, my phone is newer. How does my phone not have more energy than your phone when my phone is newer than yours? And I wasn't thinking of how simple it was. His phone was not focused on everything that my phone was focused on. His didn't have the capabilities that mine's had. So while my phone was being used to talk on the phone, I also had things going on in the background as far as Facebook, emails, all the applications that have to update every 30 seconds, 15 to a minute, whatever they were doing. So while I'm on the phone, it's still working. It's still updating. It's still being used in other areas. His did not. So my phone was draining faster than his. And I look at it the same way in the relationship, because when your mind is focused on your relationship and making it better and doing it the right way, you're able to use more energy towards that. You're able to, fill your energy up in your relationship and keep it going. With you being focused on other things as far as outside of relationship, or bringing the wrong stuff to focus on in a relationship, you may kill the energy in your relationship faster by not using it, not focusing in the right way. So if you're having people coming in and distracting you with other relationships, sexual desires, people spreading rumors, people telling you how to do things, people, distractions, other distractions other than doing the right thing for your relationship, it's draining towards, you focusing and doing it right, letting things scare you in the wrong way, fear, just trying and focusing on everything else other than your relationship can be very toxic towards how much energy you have for your relationship, how much energy you have to treat your woman correct. And the funny thing is, just like a relationship in the cell phone world, they are still trying to figure out how to make these newer phones with all these capabilities last as long as a phone that had nothing but two capabilities, which was talking and texting. They're still trying to figure that out. If you leave those old phones on the, if you charge it up to 100% and you just leave it there, it might be, it might work for 7-8 days while just sitting there, just not being used. Our phones, while they have the capabilities and everything, while it's just sitting there, might last 1 to 2 days if you're not using it, but it's still updating Facebook, Instagram, it's updating emails, it's updating Twitter, it's updating just all the other applications that you have, all the games on your phone that you have, everything that you have on your phone is still updating, it's still working, it's still a computer, it's still focusing. So it's killing your battery even faster. It can't just sit there because it's not focusing on just one task. It's going off of every other task that it has to go off of. So for me, it's very much, where to me it's correct for me to be focused on what I need to be focused on, which is, relationship and my career and stuff like that, instead of focusing on everything else that's outside of the world, because that's a distraction. That's taking some of the energy that I have over for the good things in my life and using them towards a bad way. So it's taking away things faster. It's taking away my happiness faster. Especially when if you look at it in video game world, it might be possible, but I don't see it being really possible for somebody to play 2 different video games at one time. I mean, I don't know if it's ever been done as far as that, but I don't see a person being able to focus on playing NBA 2K18 and then jumping and playing Call of Duty and being able to do it successfully. You have to stop playing one and then focus on the other. And when it comes to that, that's basically saying I'm going to take some of the energy that I have, put this in and focus on this. So if you're cheating, people say, well, I can do whatever. I can have 4, 5, 6 women, which it's true. There's ways that people can be able to do that, but it's still not focusing on what you need to be focusing on. Because in a while, somebody's going to get unhappy. If you have 2, 3 different people that you are trying to commit yourself to, somebody's going to get unhappy with the time. Somebody's going to say, well, I need more. Somebody's going to say, well, I don't like what you're doing. You're gone for this amount of time and I don't like it. You're going to have to take that focus away from that person, them people that you don't want to be, that you are your extras, and focus on what you need to focus on. And when it came to me doing the positive things in my life and trying to change that, I seen that it was able to be possible for people to change around me as well when I did the right things. Me being very argumentative and me being fearful of things and changing it. I seen people get defensive around me, especially when it came to arguing, because that's what they were prepared for. When they came prepared, when they seen I was coming and there was a conversation and I started to disagree, they were like, uh-oh, time to get defensive. And it wasn't even that after a while they weren't even arguing with me to prove me wrong or to see if I was correct. They were arguing just because they felt like they had to be defensive against me. And for me, I had to change my ways in doing that, because the more I sit here and I'm changing the way that I am and I'm talking to them different and I'm using positive talk, people start to change the way they talk around me. They started getting less defensive. They started participating more. They started to listen. And with me, I started to listen even more as well, because talking all the time isn't good, but listening is also the way to go. You may hear that with listening to someone, you may hear that they're saying the same thing that you're saying, but if you're talking, you're not able to hear that. So I had to learn to be able to listen and maybe point out, hey, you know what, we're saying the same things, and I definitely understand. Or hey, you know what, you're very smart and I hear you. The only reason I disagree is because. But the more I became argumentative, the more I were disagreeing with people, the more I tell them that they're wrong, the more the conversation became, okay, now we're not even arguing about this no more. And they changed the conversation. I remember winning arguments and people telling me that I won arguments, but I still lost in the end. And I probably said this before in there, but it's definitely a